Okay. What do you think, Kiwi? Is anyone gonna watch us play with React 16.3? We shall see. Did Restream tweak things out? Wonderful. It did. My internet is acting up, but okay. Come on. Oh, I need to get... Kiwi, I forgot to get the chat rooms. Which Kiwi Swizz. We can close this one. We don't need that right now. Okay. Now let's see. Why is everything so slow today? Very strange. Pop out this chat guy. Arr. Okay. And Twitch. I don't know why I'm in that one, but let's see. Pop out. Why am I in game creative? I should probably change that. Hey Louis, what's up? Okay, now let's see. Update on async rendering by Brian Vaughn. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to implement these fractals using the new async rendering stuff. Let's see. Oh man, I'm running out of room on my desk. This desk is way too small, but we can stop the simple React D3 project for a little bit. We're gonna continue on that some other time. Git commit -a-m whip work in progress for full feature integration. Git push origin master. You drop this Kiwi. Now let's see. I think this was just published on npm. This is a very long post. Okay. So let's see. Oh, cool. They're all my favorite guys or lifecycle components. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, this is useful. Very nice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, so this is definitely going to change how I do stuff with. This is definitely going to change how I recommend people use D3 with React. So I'm gonna have to update that. Now let's see. Yeah, context stuff is also changing, or rather they're adding new APIs for it. I'm not entirely sure yet. I haven't researched how that's gonna work. I haven't played around with it. But first, okay, I don't feel like reading all of this right now. This is a very long post. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go into Documents, Random Coding, React Fractals, its status, rm yarn error. Let's open the project and see what it is like. Workshops, random coding, React Fractals. Okay. Now let's see. We have app.js, and also let's check package.json. So we are using still React 15.4 here. Cool. So let's do yarn start and see how this works. It should have some problems with being slow if it even renders. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, it's kind of struggling because my CPU is very taxed right now with running the connection with my camera and streaming and all of that. So this is a great experiment. Now let's see if just updating to React 16.3 is gonna make it easier or better. So let's check React 16.3. It should be a release candidate. Oh, I wonder what that is. What is this? Okay, I wonder what this is. Let's see. I'm getting distracted. React 16 minus D3 minus core. React D3. Ah, yes. This thing. Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of struggling. Let's see if I just if I search for React, will this let me use React 16.3 yet? Because I've never played with a pre-release version of React, so I'm not sure how to do this. I know it's published to npm. Okay. How do I actually install a release candidate? But let's see. I think if I update this to 16.3, it should work. Yarn, or rather, let's do it like this. So yarn add react at 16.3. Will that work? Wonderful. Yes. Wait, 16.4? No. 16.3 RC0. It's installing. Great. Okay, that updated. Now if I do yarn start now, let's see if I get any new errors or if it just works. Oh, now it's compiling. React mount. What? Okay, something strange is going on. Let's so I successfully installed both. Oh, I need to update React DOM as well. Yarn add React DOM at 16.3. And we install React DOM RC0. Let's see what happens now. Oh, my shoulder. Yarn start. Let's see how. Whoa, Kiwi, you almost dropped that in my water. Okay, so this is still slow because it's not actually using async stuff, I think. Throttle with RAF is defined but never used, I know. Woo. Okay, so it's not working much better. Why is this not working any better? Let's see if we can make it much better. So I'm not actually using this anywhere. Why am I not using it anywhere? Because I'm already throttling it here, which is silly. So let's see. We don't need this. That can go away. Now let's see. Update on async rendering. So let's see if this has anything useful for us. We're using D3 select to do mouse movements for reasons. And here we have some scales, and we use D3 mouse to reference SVG. Although apparently this .refs is not to be used anymore. Are we using component will mount anywhere? Git grep component cd documents random coding react fractals gate grab component will mount. Okay, I'm not using that one. And what about will receive props? Also no. Or component will update? Also 9. Migrating from legacy life cycles. The write state from prop gets snapshot before update. Okay. Uh-huh. Initializing state, fetching data, adding event listeners, updating state based on props, invoking external callbacks, updating external data when props change, reading DOM properties before an update. Hello Tang. How are you using today? How are you doing today? Okay, so we don't actually have async rendering. So the problem here is that I thought 16.3 comes with async rendering, but it actually does not. Poop. Okay, so I thought that async rendering was already coming in 16.3, but it is not. I guess that comes in React 17 then. Poop. Well, this was pointless then. Right, so what should we do instead? Okay, so we don't have anything interesting for this particular example, but I think we can go in back to the React D3 stuff. Git diff, what did I change? Doesn't matter. So let's go back to the React D3 library, simple React D3, and we can update that one to work with React 16.3, so that by the time 16.3 comes out, we are ready, because this is a new library that doesn't actually work yet, so it makes sense to make it work with future versions, right? Yarn add React at 16.3. So if we look at package.json, this is 16.x. So we install 16.3. Oh, no. Let's just update it here. 3 minus rc0. 3 minus rc0. And we say yarn install. Author is moi. And the repository is here. And it has 0 stars. Very nice. Probably because it's not done yet. Wow, 22,000 views. Crazy. Ah, almost spilled water on my keyboard. Okay. Now let's see. Did I actually install anything? Let's see. Yarn lock 16.3. React. I didn't actually install it. What? Why? What if I do yarn install React at 16.3? Yarn add React at 16.3. Like that. Let's see, will it update in dev dependencies? Or will it add to normal dependencies? And React DOM needs to do the same. Great. And now if I do yarn start, it should still work, but we should update how things are being done. Shouldn't we, Kiwi? Oh, great. I have service workers. Why are you growling at me? Why are you upset? Kiwi is growling at me. Come. Yeah, I'm not spending enough time with you. Service workers. How do I clear? Wow. Okay, come on. Okay, so now I have a funny problem because there is a service worker for localhost that used to get installed by default, and I can't figure out how to get rid of it, because also everything is being very, very slow right now. See, it's not even reloading the page. Wow, this is not working very well today. See, I can't even reload. I'm reloading the page and nothing happens. I can close the tab and I can go back to localhost 3000 and hope for the best. Okay, site cannot be reached, that is correct. And if I oh my god, I'm an idiot. I'm doing yarn start in the wrong folder. Wow, this is not my day. Yarn install. Come on, yarn install, do your thing. Wow, my computer is not happy today. So I really, next time I have to reboot the damn thing before I start live coding, because this is not going well today. Let's see, yarn lock, did it update now? It did. Wonderful. So now if I do yarn start, it should show up. Right, Kiwi? Yes. He's very tired. Yay, okay, that worked. Each child in an array iterator needs to blah blah blah. Great. Okay, let's position those two next to each other because we can. So we have this guy here, stacked example. Let's put them both in the same SVG. Height 600, width 600. X equals 0, y equals 0, and this one is with y blah 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 at x equals 0 and y equals 300. So they should move next to each other like that. Actually, you're right, Kiwi. Let's put them next to each other horizontally. So if we say this is, let's say, 1280 by 720, is that what it is? 1280 by 720. Yes, that is 720p. Yeah, it is. So 1280. We put this one at 600 wide, 300. Let's say 720 tall, 720, and we say this one goes at 640 x, and they should now move next to each other like that. Great. and 720 is too much height, so let's go back to 300 and also change this to 300. Great. So we have that. Now let's go update the actual integration so that it follows new best practices. If we open SVG black box, this is, oh, okay, it's already following best practices. It's running things in component did mount and component did update, so it doesn't need to do any. Hi Kiwi, yes, you're cute. So it doesn't, we don't need to change this one at all. But the React D3 one, this one is using component will mount and component will update. So I apparently should be changing this to did mount and did update. And then it just works. Wonderful. And if we go here, our bar chart, let's add a chroma scale. So we say yarn add chroma.js. Actually, no, we don't need chroma.js because we have the new color scales from D3 v5. So we say color is what are the new colors? How did we do this in the stacked example? Here color becomes D3 scheme accent, scale ordinal, blah blah blah. And let's see what are the different. If we say d3.scheme, we can say we want I think blues are pretty. D3 scheme blues, and to use it here we have to say fill is this dot color of index, and we have to update our color scale to say that the domain goes from 0 to props.data.length. That did not work because it needs to be like this: style equals fill this dot color of index. No, and but we do have to say key is, I'm just gonna use index, that way it's gonna stop complaining. Now let's see, is it actually setting the colors? It's not. Why isn't it? What if I say fill is blue? Will that work? That works. So how does the color scale work? Color is D3 scale ordinal, and it doesn't need to have a domain set. Very interesting. So if I say this dot color of index, that should just work, and yet it does not. Console log this dot color, that works. This dot color of 0, this dot color of 1, undefined, undefined. How did I define the color scale here? D3 scale ordinal. If I say scheme accent, will that work? Okay, so the accent scheme does work. Why don't other schemes work? So d3.scheme Bupu, will that one work? Okay, let's see how does this work. D3 wiki API scheme color schemes. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, so you have to say here, once we get the data, we have to say color equals d3 scale ordinal of d3 scheme blues of props data dot length. Will it work now? Still no. Okay, console log d3.scheme blues empty, so we get 10. Okay, so let's try making a sequential scale instead. So we say d3 scale sequential of d3 interpolate blues. Now let's see what happens if I throw out this dot color of 0 and this color of 0.1. What will that do? Okay, now that is giving me colors. So here, if I use the index directly, it gives me all the same color, but if I divide index by data.length, it should give me, yay. Alright, that worked. Now let's see if this still works if I change this to what are they called, Kiwi? Fat arrow functions. Okay, git status, git log, or git diff. Did I actually change anything important? No, but git commit -a -m update to React 16.3 and make demo more shiny. Great, now let's see. Props like that, and this is a function that just does a rendering. that doesn't work, which is annoying. Index 47. What? Oh, 27. Let's see, what is this here? Or even here. Console log blah this. So that's a problem, because we cannot change the scope of fat arrow functions. And it would be really handy if we could. It would be really handy if we could change colors, because then this would be easier to use. Or rather, if we could change scope. Fat arrow function change scope. Interesting. Oh, this is what I need on my blog. What's up, Kiwi? Okay. That's annoying. It doesn't look like I can actually... How are other libraries doing this? Because people aren't gonna want to do it like this, right? So I'm wondering how other libraries do this. How do I use higher order components with fat arrow functions passed in? I guess it's made so I don't have to pass in stuff. What's up? Okay, let's figure out how to make this into a function we can use similarly to SVG black box here. Let's do that. So React D3 Hawk, and we said, did we export that before? Export function, yeah. Export function React D3 Hawk. export function react d3 hawk. I'm not a fan of this one, but let's see how we can make it better. So we say export default function react d3, and this is going to be a function that takes what? Arguments. So we see if arguments.length is more than 1, then we are returning, similar to here, we return react d3 hawk, and we pass in arguments. I think I can do it this way. Yeah, that seems to work. Okay, perfect. The reason I know it works is because I just changed the default export. So if the default export works, we know everything works. Now, let's take this simple bar chart, and we are going to say, camera died. Okay, down all the way down here. Let's see if I'm not moving anymore. Come on, camera. Interesting, my camera froze. I've never seen camera software hang before. Live. Great, I am back. Okay, so this is rather nasty. I don't want anyone to do this in real life, but down here, where we have a simple bar chart, we can instead do react d3, and we are going to do it this way. I'm going to copy this, and we are gonna say this is going to render what? It's gonna need to take data from props, so it's going to be past props like that, and it is going to then render a bunch of stuff, so it doesn't need all of this because it already has data. Yeah, like that. Now this should be syntactically correct. No, now it is. So react d3 is going to take a function as children, and it's going to get data and x scale and height and y scale and color. So we can take all these guys out. We don't have to refer to them with this keyword before anymore. We just say x scale, y scale, color, and so on. And now here we're going to take a default d3 thing, or our prop. That's going to be called default d3 equals, and that's going to be an object. And then we're going to have an update d3, which is going to be a function. And this function is going to do what? For now, it's not going to do anything. And we're also going to need to pass in data and width, like that. Okay, so in react d3, here instead we say we return so we are going to let's see if that works. We can return a class called reactD3, which extends a React component no. Let's see. So we have arguments are const default d3 no let's see, console log of arguments. Let's see what they actually are. How are they getting passed in? Let's just render an empty grouping element for now. Are we even calling this? Okay, we are. That's good. Console log hello and arguments. So the first one is called as a hawk and gets default d3 data children. Okay, no, that should be okay. Let's remove this part up here. Rather, let's remove this part just so it's easier to isolate what's actually going on. Okay, so we are being called, this is props and this is other stuff. Okay, what is the, and if I disable this one and enable this back, then how is this being called? This is getting 3 arguments. Okay, so I have to here say if arguments zero.children. So if we have children, no, that's not gonna work. If arguments dot length is bigger than 2, then we go into the hawk example. Otherwise we go into, no, if it's smaller, if it's bigger than 2, Kiwi, this is getting complicated. Console, oh, I commented it out down here. So that's commented, and this needs to be commented out like that. Okay, now we're doing it. So we get our props. So we say const props equals arguments of 0. Now what do we do with them? We need to call them as the render method, which we're doing here weirdly, and let's do it this way. So we take update d3, or we take default d3, update d3, children, render, and the other props like that, and we return a class called React we can actually return React D3 Hawk it's gonna make it easy. So we take default D3, update D3, and children or render, and we say const hawk equals react d3 hawk, where we use default d3 and we use update d3, and we don't pass in a third function, and instead we say return hawk, where we pass in the props like that. So we pass in all the props like this, and in here we say if render d3, then we call it, otherwise we return const children and render equals this.props, and we say, oh, but here update d3 and stuff is gonna have problems. Let's see. So we said that we don't know how this should work. But when we render it, we should say if the render method exists. How did I do it here? If the children method exists, if children exist, then we call children using this.props, otherwise we call render using this.props. So that should take care of rendering. Now I have to make sure that I know how to make update d3 work. Xscale is not a function. Yeah. How do we do this? Okay, we are going to props, so we're going to say we take props, rather args, and we're going to say const args equals object dot assign props and default not default d3 but how do I make an object? How do I do this? So we have object dot entries of b2. So I'm trying to figure out a nice functional way to transform an object array. So if we map through this and we say key and value, and we return key value times 2, like that, we say object dot from entries, JavaScript object from entries. Let's see. How do I build an object? JavaScript reverse of object.entries. Right, we can reduce them. So we're going to say object.keys of default d3 dot map, and this map is going to take a key and return this dot key, and then we're going to reduce that. It's going to take mem and okay, so we're going to reduce it into key and this. Oh no, we can reduce directly. So we say reduce. How exactly does reduce work? JavaScript reduce. I need to see which one is the accumulator and which one is the because I always forget. So current value. So we say object and key, and we return object dot assign a key of, or rather key of this key, like that, and we start with an empty object like that. Wonderful. Who can understand that code? Let's see if it actually works. We're going to try it here. So let's see. Object equals a1 b2, and we're going to say object dot keys of object are a and b. That's great. And then if we reduce those and say o and key should get object assign of key should be object key times 2, let's say in this case, and we start with an empty one. We dropped one. That's not good. How did we manage to drop one? Ah, I know how we managed to drop one. Because we have to assign it to the actual object. Now it's gonna work. Same here. We need to take the current object and assign new values to it. And it's not working because update D3 doesn't work yet, but it is trying to work. So if we say React and we click here, we do have React D3, which has scales and shit, and inside it renders another React D3 with a bunch of these guys. The problem is that they all have a width and a height that is not useful. So what I have to do is I have to make sure that update D3 works. So we have to decide what the thing should be. But let's make sure this still works. We also want the hawk approach to work. So let's do it this way. Okay, great, that works. Now, SVG black box, React D3. What do we do here? How do we make the protocol for calling update D3? Because it would be weird if we use the this keyword here. So instead, update D3 should work more like a reducer. It should get X scale, Y scale, and color, and it should get props and should update stuff. So let's do it that way. So where it's doing this stuff, it should instead do something like this. It's going to get X scale and Y scale and props, and it's going to return something like this. X scale is going to be X scale with blah. Or maybe not. Because these are objects, they are passed by reference, which means we can do it like, we can just do it. So we say X scale domain blah blah blah, and it doesn't have to return anything. Okay, so height, range, end of that, end of that. X scale blah blah blah. So here cannot read property in domain of undefined. Yes. If render D3, okay, const used as hawk equals like that. So here, if used as hawk, we're going to do it this way. Otherwise, we call update D3 with args. So let's do this. This dot args. So, and we're going to turn this args into a static something, or into a getter. Get args So we return these guys, return, and we want to say const children and render props equals this dot props. Avoid passing children and render to functions. Object assign props, object keys, default D3, reduce, and we get all these guys, and this should all be passed by reference, so it should in theory work. This.args, and here we say this.args, and if used as hawk, we use it this way, otherwise we say update D3 this.args. Let's see if that works. 9. We also seem to have made it really not work. Didn't we, Kiwi? Console log used as hawk, used as hawk. So true, false. Okay, so it rendered the first one, which is great, but the second one is not quite there. So we have this, that worked, but here update D3 is not really. Oh, but it is. Oh no, it is actually working. We just have to also listen to X and Y. So here we're gonna say transform equals translate $x and $y like this, and you say X and Y, and we're going to pass them in as, or actually no, we don't have to do that, we can just hard code it, because why not? Nah, let's pass them in. It's nicer to pass these things in. So we're going to say X equals 30. No, X should be, we said it's 300 pixels high here, so X should be 0 and Y should be 300. And now we should get another one showing up underwear. Yes, 310, and we say this is 620. Voila. Cool. Let's see if Cody is still around and he can tell me what he thinks. Or actually, anybody else, what do you think about this as a pattern for using React D3? I think this could work. This could make life easier while still giving you all the control you need and never getting in your way. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this code and then I'm going to post it on Twitter and ask people for opinions. Git push origin simple React D3. Git push origin. Now let's take a screenshot of this using Carbon. Wow, my editor is so slow, or rather my computer is so slow. See, I press Shift Tab and nothing seems to happen. Okay, let's move it up here so that it gets all nicely blah. Oh, come on. Oh, that's what's bothering you? There we go. Pasta. Pasta. Oh, come on. Command C, Command V. Is there really no better syntax highlighting for this? Django, GraphQL, Groovy, Haskell, JavaScript? No, that doesn't change it. JSON, Kotlin, Markdown, Mathematica, Power, Ruby, Scala, Swift, new. So yeah, the idea of this is that you would use this for more than just prototyping, because you could essentially avoid having to always retype this stuff, component did mount, component did update, and all of that, because the library is doing it for you. But I'm not, yeah. Right, so I messed this up. SETI, okay. I don't like how this is getting syntax highlighted, like not really. No, view doesn't work either. Auto, save image. JavaScript, CoffeeScript. Okay, that works. So we save the image. Come on, save image. Full feature React D3. Now let's go ask on Twitter, and then I'm going to have to stop live coding because I have blogs to write and code to review and a bunch of other fun things that I have to take care of today. Idea is to for the lib to never get in your way. Idea is to provide full feature integration, never get in your way, and avoid writing boilerplate. And we're going to ask Shirley Wu and Micah. Who else? Who else is really big in the React in D3? I'm just gonna ask Elijah Meeks because he is cool. tweet, and I'm also going to post it on Facebook on my page. Potentially people are going to have ideas there as well. Facebook Swiss page, and thanks everyone for watching. I will see you again maybe tomorrow, maybe not tomorrow, but I'll decide tomorrow. If I do see you tomorrow, it's going to be around probably around 9:30 to 10 p.m., much like today. So thanks everyone, see you around next time. Have a good night.